Fantasy Football Warriors, we are back. Here we go. Waiver Wire Week
3.
That's right. Waiver Wire Week 3 coming at you. The injuries abound.
Out of control.
Injuries abound this past week. So we're going to go through your Waiver Wire targets. As always, Tank Sinatra, Eddie Bravo, bringing you the best info we can. Waiver Wire's kind of... there
are no Jordan Masons on the line.
Yeah. It's not hot necessarily, but there is enough to consider for your lineups in the waiver wire. So, without further ado, let's get after it, baby. Here we go.
Here we are.
Carson Steele. All right, Isaiah Pacheco left the
Landed
stadium
on IR.
in crutches and a walking boot.
Yep,
Golly.
not great.
So no telling.
The timeline
long,
is
right?
6 to 8 weeks right now.
Is that what they're predicting?
Yep, so 6 to 8 weeks.
Jeez.
Significant if you're a Pacheco manager. Life's
Absolutely.
hard, but...
Absolutely, that is tough.
Carson Steele is probably the next man up. He was the lead for RB2 during training camp in the offseason. He's their undrafted rookie this season. Samaje Perine, who they signed, literally only played on passing downs last week as we head into the next week. The game where Pacheco went down, only passing downs, didn't play a single snap while they were running. Steele got all of the carries as well as the red zone work. Perine didn't get any red zone work after Pacheco went down, so that leads me to believe that Carson Steele is probably the priority grab here. He's probably the next man up.
Probably who you're going to want. That's who you're going to want to prioritize for your waiver wire. There's always the chance the Chiefs can grab someone off free agency.
Now, what I'm seeing is they're expected to sign Kareem Hunt. He'll be a little later on the waiver wire video. That could muddy the waters here, but
a little bit.
I mean, Kareem Hunt has been washed for a couple of seasons now. If you look at his yards per carry, his career average is 4.3 yards per carry. The last 2 seasons, he's been 3.8 and then below 3.8. So
I know me personally, if I was Andy Reid, I'm going to want to give my homegrown kind of talent, Carson Steele.
It's important to note, however, is it's Chiefs and the Andy Reid who drafted him.
Right.
They drafted Kareem Hunt.
Right.
Back in 2017.
That is true. Maybe
that muddies the water, but
give them another
last hurrah.
Another last chance, last opportunity. Also, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is eligible to return in week 4.
He's not going to get any carries, though.
I mean, I'm just saying it clouds.
Yeah.
It further clouds things, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. But right now, with the information we have, Carson Steele is the priority ad in that backfield. Joe Mixon, another running back, injured on Sunday night. It's rough.
Damian Pierce and Cam Akers, fire them up.
Yeah. They don't really like Damian Pierce over there. That's been evident for a couple of seasons now. He was inactive last week, so it's important to note that he was inactive. So it's kind of hard to say if he would have been the next man up. Cam Akers had a strong preseason, and he got the bulk of the work after Mixon went down.
Yes, he did.
Dare Ogunbowale got some work as well, so it's not going to be all Cam Akers, but he got the bulk of it. And Pierce was inactive, so it's hard to say if he's activated next week what the split's going to look like. But my lean would be Cam Akers if you're starting one of them, as he's the one that's had the good camp, and he's the one that got all the work with Mixon out. And he's looked good, honestly. Off of 2 ACL tears, he averaged 5.1 yards per carry this is Monday, yesterday. So
now, did Damian Pierce's injury have anything to do with how much work Cam Akers got when Mixon went down?
Like I said, Damian Pierce wasn't even active last night.
Right.
So it's hard to say, but like I said,
he had a hammy, so
Damian Pierce, I mean,
he was inactive.
When he was back there with Devin Singletary last season, they wouldn't even give him the snaps. And honestly, since his rookie season, Damian Pierce has been really bad. So, and it's not like Damian Pierce was an elite prospect to begin with. I think he was like a 5th-round pick. So, Damian Pierce is not a guy that I think this current staff likes, and I'm not worried about it. It's probably going to be Cam Akers and Dare Ogunbowale. like I said, I would prioritize Cam Akers. It will be interesting to see how much work Pierce gets, but I would stay with a good amount of confidence that Cam Akers probably leads the team in carries next week if Mixon misses.
Yeah, he didn't look half bad either.
He's looked good. Training camp, good. Like I said, he averaged 5.1 yards per carry last night. Yep. So
he was looking all right. He was getting it done. So Cam Akers, the lean, I guess.
Right? That would be my lean.
All right.
Cooper Kupp on IR.
Man.
Life is expected to be on IR.
Man.
Not great. Demarcus Robinson, 92% of the snaps. But he only had a 12% target share this last week, even with Cooper Kupp going out. So, not a priority ad, but he's who we would expect to lead the Rams in targets this upcoming week. So, an option, flex value there. Hunter Henry might be my favorite person here.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the tight ends haven't really worked out just yet, unless your names are Trey McBride and Brock Bowers. I mean, like, it's kind of been bad. Sam Laporta only had a 10% first read target share so far into the season. Like, it's been kind of bad for a lot of these tight ends. But Hunter Henry just went out there and put up a big week.
Sure did.
I believe it was, 9 receptions, 108 yards?
Caught 8 for 12, 109.
109, there you go. So, good week. Obviously didn't have that crazy week 1, but he's had 84% of the snaps in week 1 and 2, so he's playing. And he had a 48% target share here in week 2. Now, obviously, that's unsustainable. That'll come down, especially for a tight end. But it's not out of the realm of possibility, given the wide receiver room, to expect that he keeps a high target share.
Yeah.
So
he consistently plays in two tight end sets, and for the most part, he has all the single tight end sets.
Yep.
So.
And he's got a history. We've seen him before be a productive fantasy tight end. So Hunter Henry is definitely, I think, a priority ad if you don't have Brock Bowers or Sam Laporta. Or not Sam Laporta, excuse me. If you don't have Brock Bowers or Trey McBride, I would be trying to get Hunter Henry. I think there's no way of saying that it's going to continue, but I think there's a good enough chance of this kind of production continuing, given the state of the wide receiver room and the pass catchers on the team right now, that Hunter Henry could continue to be the number one target on this team.
Yeah. As long as Jacoby Brissett is under center, and if he feels like, Hunter Henry, that's my safety valve right there.
And even if Drake May comes in, rookie quarterbacks like the security blanket. So Hunter Henry, priority ad.
Yeah,
I would be trying to get him.
I think definitely you want Hunter Henry, and even if it amounts to anything or not, it's the gamble in grabbing him, far outweighs not having him. So definitely deserves a spot on your roster.
We were just speaking of Kareem Hunt. I've got him as a mid-tier option. Chiefs are expected to sign him, but his efficiency has been putrid the last couple of seasons. He's fallen off for a while now. So
yeah, he's been declining.
It's hard to say what his role will be, but he's still an ad as a past productive player, someone with history with Andy Reid.
Now, just playing devil's advocate here, right? We have seen, and we've seen it a little more than often. Player goes to another team and finds a little resurgence. Do you think that is in the outcome of possibilities for Kareem Hunt?
Maybe. I'm just remember that he spent most of his career in Cleveland. He was only with Kansas City for 2 seasons. And he had productive seasons in Cleveland, and then he just fell off the wagon when people around him were fine. Jerome Ford was fine last season. Nick Chubb was obviously fine. So it's hard to say that was situation dependent. So,
for me, I just think not necessarily so much the player, but where he's going in the environment. Andy Reid, the coaching staff, the offense, I would like to believe that they can probably get what is left out of Kareem Hunt.
It's possible, but he's an aging veteran who's, we've seen Dalvin Cook got signed by the Cowboys this offseason, and he hasn't even been activated off the practice squad. I see that as the wrong, that's, in my vision, one of a very, very likely outcome for Kareem Hunt is that he's kind of just he's on the roster, kind of on the practice squad, and they elevate him if they need him, but I feel like they probably want to roll with Carson Steele and Samaje Perine.
Definitely not priority, but if you want to stash just in case, maybe he turns into something, have at it.
This afternoon, I went and added him. I had a spot open on one of my teams with a bench one. I just went and added him because I was seeing that it was speculative that he could be signed. So not a priority. Even if they do sign him, I don't know if he'll be activated week 1. He's still got to learn the system. He's still got to find his place. So but mid-tier option here to grab if Carson Steele or Samaje Perine aren't on the wire. Ty Chandler.
Let's talk about Ty Chandler.
He should be rostered. I was kind of...
That's what I was going to say.
I wasn't going to even talk about him, but when I saw his roster percentage, it was below 50%, and I found that shocking. I mean, Ty Chandler needs to be rostered as
he does.
Not only a high upside handcuff, but just last week, he had 10 opportunities to Aaron Jones' 15.
Sure did.
He's averaged 10.5 touches through 2 weeks. Like, he's giving you flex value and has a role right now.
Right.
Now, if anything would happen to Aaron Jones, you have probably someone who's a lineup lock. I mean, he just needs to be rostered. If he's on your wire, you need to get him in your lineup. Or not in your lineup, but on your bench.
Absolutely.
So, Deebo Samuel expected to mix a couple weeks here. That opens up Ricky Pearsall, their rookie that they drafted in the first round. This was kind of the outcome that people were interested in the offseason. Well, was Brandon Ayuk going to be traded? What was going to happen here? So now we have Deebo injured, and so that opens up Ricky Pearsall to get some playing time if he's back. I actually don't know if he'll be active because obviously he got shot in the offseason. So
yeah, it's going to be a little bit still before he gets back. I think in the short term, fire up George Kittle,
Juwan Jennings, but Ricky Pearsall is a speculative ad. I don't know when he'll be activated, but he could be activated soon. The injury wasn't severe enough that I think he'll be out for super long, so he might be back. Ricky Pearsall, someone you can add. Jalen Tolbert, going into, I believe, his 3rd season now. 6 for 92, pretty good game, 21% target share. He's averaged 77% of the snaps the last 2 games. Pretty good. He's definitely getting a role, and if this type of target share continues and he kind of solidifies himself as maybe the wide receiver 2 over Brandon Cooks, you've got a player that's going to be good for your flex and filtering in during bye weeks or injuries.
Yep.
So
you've got to use them in a pinch.
I would get Jalen Tolbert on your roster and kind of see what if it continues, if it doesn't. I mean, if it doesn't, you can cut him and call it a day. But with a performance like that, I think he's probably someone you could add and kind of see if it continues.
Yeah.
Alec Pierce continues to be heavily involved, and because of that, I think he needs to be on rosters. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see what happens when Josh Downs comes back.
Comes on back, baby boy.
Right now, Alec Pierce has kind of been the most productive wide receiver on the team. Clearly, Anthony Richardson is looking for him, so he needs to be rostered as well as someone who can score a touchdown on almost any play. And, I mean, he was 5 for 52 and a touchdown this week. Like, it was pretty dang good production that you would have not been upset about. And then, obviously, last week it was the
over 2 weeks, 181 yards, 2 touchdowns.
So, needs to be rostered. Zach Ertz is someone who is having a role once again. He's second on the team in targets through 2 weeks. Clearly, Jaden Daniels is looking for him. Zach Ertz
we talk about it.
Needs to be rostered as well as kind of a lower tier tight end, but someone who's getting targets and
rookie quarterback's best friend, a competent tight end.
So I would be adding him as a tight end too.
He definitely needs to be rostered. I know he's not setting the world on fire, right? But he definitely needs to be rostered because this can definitely develop into more as the season progresses.
Absolutely. Some of the lower end options, just ads. We talked about Samaje Perine. He's definitely going to be the primary passing down back until Pacheco returns. That role can be valuable. We'll see how valuable it is for him. Obviously, we've got a history of Jerick McKinnon in that role doing really great things. He's not Jerick McKinnon, but he is a competent running back. And honestly, if I were Andy Reid, I think I would lean Samaje Perine as the primary beneficiary here. I know they like Carson Steele, but undrafted rookie, my lean would be there, but they've seen Carson Steele play up close and throughout the offseason, so I trust that they trust him, but Samaje Perine's competent enough to get the nod too if he has to, so he's someone I would be adding if he's on the wire as well, as he's going to get most of the passing down work. I don't expect Carson Steele to get that. Kareem Hunt could, but like I said, we already are skeptical of what Hunt's role is really going to be here if they actually sign him. It was just a report I saw. So Samaje Perine, someone who should be looking at to add this week as well. We talked about Braylon Allen last week.
Said it last week. Look at that. It says it right there, baby.
He needs to be rostered. We said it last week.
This guy in week 2
touchdowns.
Ran 7 times for 33 yards, a tutty. 2 passes for 23 and a tutty.
I said it last week. It needed to be rostered. It didn't make any sense that he wasn't. He is one of the best handcuffs in football, I would say. Like
absolutely. Something, God forbid, happens to Breece Hall. Fire up Braylon Allen.
And if he continues to have a role like this, he's not going to score 2 touchdowns every week. But if he continues to have a role, then he could be someone you're starting as a low-end flex. So
yeah, Braylon Allen, probably not going to have standalone value right now. This is probably, you could probably consider this an outlier.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be every week, like you said. But, I mean, the upside.
Yep.
If something were to happen, that's someone you want.
So, Allen needs to be
One
rostered.
Of those people with clear paths that we talked about.
Andre Josefas, 2 touchdowns this week. I wouldn't go crazy. He's only had an 18 and a 12% target share through 2 weeks. He had a good camp, though, and if this causes Joe Burrow to further trust him, look for him, then we could be having, sort of an upside scenario for Andre Josefas, especially because, T. Higgins doesn't seem to be getting much healthier. I heard that he's getting better this week, but we don't really know when he'll return. And obviously, Tyler Boyd had value even with those 2 on the field. So if Andre Josefas is going to step into the Tyler Boyd role, if you will, then I think he should be rostered as well. Mike Gesicki is someone who has always kind of shown up and then disappeared and shown up and disappeared while he was on the Dolphins.
Yes.
Now with the Bengals. He actually led the Bengals in targets and receiving yards this last week, which is pretty crazy. But Joe Burrow was looking for him. And if this continues to be a theme and he has a stable role, Mike Gesicki could easily finish as a tight end 1 this season. He's a good athlete. He's explosive, and he can do things like he did this week, and we've seen it.
Mike Gesicki has the goods. I just think that it's always been a matter of opportunity, I think, with Mike Gesicki.
And I think it's because he's not like a good blocker. He's like purely a receiving tight end that limits your snaps as a tight end. But
it limits your time on the field.
But if they can continue to just let Mike Gesicki be their purely receiving tight end, I think he could be good.
And is he only seeing this because T. Higgins is out? And then once T. Higgins returns, Mike Gesicki goes away again. So again, not super clear,
But I would be rostering him, and we will continue to see what his role is. Luke Schoonmaker, 6 for 42 this week. He'll probably be a good play until Jake Ferguson returns. Obviously, Jake Ferguson is a productive tight end when he's there. Luke Schoonmaker kind of just waltzed into the role, 6 for 42. You'll take those 10 points in a PPR league. So he probably should be rostered as, if you're battling poor tight end play, Luke Schoonmaker is someone who can add relief for the meantime here.
Especially if you had Jake Ferguson.
Yeah. Streaming options. There's not a ton of great streaming options here at QB. Derek Carr out here playing really well.
Derek Carr,
Who
man.
knew Clint Kubiak was the secret for Derek Carr?
Lighten up the NFL, baby.
They look clearly good enough to take on Philly. I expect it to be a shootout this next week. So I think Derek Carr is a perfectly fine streamer.
Absolutely surprising to me.
Yeah, they've really come out.
How good they look. Now, again, it's week 2, but
maybe we should take a little victory lap, because we talked all offseason about the OC change and how big that is, because Pete Carmichael was so bad. We talked about it all offseason. Clint Kubiak was going to come and modernize the offense. They literally went from last in the NFL in play action rate to, I think, they're second in play action rate through 2 weeks. Like, He completely came and modernized this offense, and it has clearly been
it was
very
easy
good.
week 1 to be like, it was the Panthers.
But against the Cowboys, yeah.
Week 2, that's not necessarily a scrub defense that they just beat up on.
Yeah, so Derek Carr, good streaming option this week. He's the only one that really stands out as someone I think will be on waiver wires. Defense and special teams over here. Vikings versus Texans. Vikings defense has been damn good. It's been damn good since Brian Flores took over. Obviously, they get thrown all over, but that just adds to it for fantasy because obviously you're getting a lot of points for sacks and stuff like that. Sacks only happen if you're throwing the ball. So teams throw on the Vikings. That opens the door for sacks. They get lots of pressure. So Vikings versus Texans should be pretty good here.
Bears are looking good defensively as well.
They just played the Texans last night and put up some good points. So Bears versus Colts, I'll take that. Anthony Richardson has looked poor passing the football. I think the Bears can capitalize that and have another strong week. They are the defense one right now. Seahawks versus Dolphins. The Seahawks are just looking really solid defensively, getting a lot of pressure. The Dolphins probably don't have Tua this week, and even if they do, I mean, Tua just threw 3 interceptions to the Bills last week, so Seahawks are a good play this week. Those are the 3 defenses I think I would be streaming this week.
And whoever is playing the Panthers.
I mean, I don't even know about that. I mean, the Chargers played the Panthers last season, and it didn't even result in many fantasy points.
Last
week.
Well, that's true. Maybe do you think it was the Chargers defense couldn't capitalize on it?
No, because actually when you look at the analytics, the Chargers are the best defense in the league right now. I was looking at something today. When you look at they're literally first in EPA per play allowed. When you go down the metrics here of defensive efficiency, they are literally first through 2 weeks. So it's not because the Chargers defense is bad. They're actually statistically the best defense so far and shutting down on offense. It's just at a certain point, a team is too bad to actually score fantasy points, because fantasy points, you need interceptions, you need sacks, you need touchdowns, you need the team to be playing. But if the team is going out there and just 3 and out, and you're not getting points for a 3 and out. So while the Panthers seem on paper like a team to target, it hasn't really been that through 2 weeks because they're just too bad. However, Bryce Young got benched already. It's going to be Andy Dalton going forward. Andy Dalton,
the Red Rifle.
They probably throw more. This is, hallelujah for Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
Maybe hallelujah for Jonathan Brooks once he gets back, Chuba Hubbard. This should hopefully make the offense function more. If you're someone who thinks it's because the Panthers suck and Bryce Young is good, you're wrong, because Bryce Young is very bad at football. Literally, through 2 weeks, the Panthers O-line, I think, is second in pass protection, fourth in pass protection.
And he still can't get it done.
Last season, you can make the excuse, okay, the O-line was terrible. He was running for his life. That's not the case this season. He's just doesn't look like an NFL competent quarterback, and
that's how it goes down sometimes.
So Andy Dalton will have the 4th best pass protecting O-line in the league protecting him as he throws the ball.
Red Rifle.
And Deontay Johnson should have a resurgence. I wouldn't start him this week. Let's wait and see.
Let's see it first. Yep.
But if you wanted to play whoever's playing the Panthers, I don't even know just yet, but you could, because Andy Dalton is not mobile. He's going to take sacks if that's the case. With the good pass protecting O-line.
Yeah, probably not that many.
Which, once again, lends into what I was saying about how the Panthers have been a bad team, but it's not leading to fantasy points because the O-line's actually good. The Panthers aren't a bad team. Bryce Young is just bad, and so it hasn't really been resulting in fantasy points here. But we'll see how that goes here in this week. Andy Dalton could probably throw some picks if you wanted to play whoever's playing the Panthers, but that would not be a priority streaming option for me personally.
All right. Ran through it. There you go. There's your waiver wire for week 3. Refit, recharge, and go get them in week 3. Make those adjustments. Start paying attention to the trending data, right? We're getting into week 3. Week 4, once you have a good rolling 4 of data and trending data at that, that's when you really start playing this game, right? So Pay attention to the trending data. We're going into week 3, week 4 right after that, and then you can really start making those lineup adjustments, looking for trades,
Yep,
things of that nature.
We'll start putting out trade videos here in the next week or two as we start to have some good data to fall back on and start evaluating who are the guys we should be trying to get on our rosters. So I would also like to add we're recording this Monday. The Monday night game has not finished yet, so if there are any waiver wire relevant
or
things that occur in this game, I will pin a comment in the description or in the comment section with any takeaways with whatever that is, if there are anything relevant.
Yeah.
We'll have start sit on Wednesday. I think that's about it here for this waiver wire video. I think we covered it all.
Right.
Not the most exciting week for waiver wire, but there are some options.
Yeah, that was enough there. Definitely enough there. All right, Fantasy Football Warriors, as always, we want to know about your rivalries. You're 2 weeks in, going into your third. Tell us what your rivalries are. Who are you going to play in week 3 that you're looking forward to? Talk to us about it. We'd love to talk to you about it. As always, for the Tank Sinatra, this is Eddie Bravo. We're signing off.
See you next time.
Go get him, y'all.